want to dig into an issue that was sparked by a tweet from President Trump here, an announcement on that front that raised a lot of questions, particularly when it comes to the suburbs, what he's trying to do there with voters and shifting away from Joe Biden, and a particular rule here that came through in the Obama presidency. And he tweeted this about that. He said, quote, "I am happy to inform all the people living their suburban lifestyle dream that you will no longer be bothered or financially hurt by having low-income housing built in your neighborhood. I am happy to inform," he goes on to say there, "your housing prices will go up based on the market and crime will go down. I have rescinded the Obama-Biden AFFH rule. Enjoy." For more on what that AFFH rule actually is, I want to bring on Yahoo Finance's Kristin Myers to dig into this. And Kristin, a lot of critics are saying that this is just straight up telling white suburban neighborhoods out there that he will keep minorities out of the neighborhood. So what's really going on here?
Hey, Zack. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that Trump's tweet is essentially dog whistle racism, essentially, for essentially implying that folks that live in low housing or low income housing essentially drive up crime in the areas, while others are saying, listen, this is a part of the president's push for those suburban voters ahead of the election, which we might have delayed now per his latest tweets. But to your point about what the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Act is, it's from 2015. It's an Obama-Biden era rule. And the rule says this: the approach provided by this rule is intended to make program participants better able to evaluate their present environment to assess fair housing issues, such as segregation, conditions that restrict fair housing choice, and disparities in access to housing and opportunity. Identify the factors that primarily contribute to the creation or perpetuation of fair housing issues and establish fair housing priorities and goals. So that sounds like a lot. What it essentially is saying is that the Obama administration had decided that in order for a city or town to receive federal funding, that they didn't have to just prevent discrimination when it came to housing in their areas, but they actually had to actively examine if their housing practices contained any sort of racial bias. And as a result, they came out with all of these tools that cities and municipalities could use to examine data to do just that, to determine if there was any sort of racial bias in their housing practices and figure out ways to prevent it. Now, ever since Trump took office, HUD has essentially worked to delay it. And then we talked about this back in January. They decided to rescind it. That is now being made official. They decided to rescind that rule back on January 14th. So this is what HUD is now proposing instead. They are saying that localities are going to self-certify, so self-identify whether housing in their areas is affordable and free of discrimination. They said that, that the Obama era rule was, quote, overly burdensome. And they said, quote, they found it to be unworkable and ultimately a waste of time for localities to comply with. Of course, critics are saying that, the new regulation is only going to increase housing insecurity, only going to increase housing discrimination. And of course, as you mentioned with that tweet, a lot of critics are saying, look, frankly, the president's tweet is just out and out racist.
Yeah, interesting to see there, especially, one of those rules that whether or not you like it once it's in place, reversing it does, I think, kind of change the dynamic of it a bit. But appreciate you bringing us that. Yahoo Finance's Kristin Myers.